Hong Kong elections, pro-democracy groups makes big gains. Supporters of a pro-democracy candidate celebrate as results in the district election were announced. As results were announced, pro-democracy supporters were in high spirits in Tuen Mun district. Joshua Wong says Beijing can't keep him down. Hong Kong's opposition pro-democracy movement has made unprecedented gains in the Chinese territory's district council elections, early results show. According to the figures, pro-democracy candidates have 278 seats so far, and pro-Beijing candidates 42. News script from BBC. Despite fears the vote could be disrupted or cancelled over the unrest, it went ahead peacefully. The election was seen as a test of support for the government after months of unrest, protests and clashes. The government and Beijing had been hoping the election would bring a show of support from the so-called silent majority, but that did not materialise. Instead, some significant pro-Beijing candidates lost council seats. All clips may not match the story. One controversial pro-Beijing lawmaker, who lost his seat, Junius Ho, said, "Heaven and earth have been turned upside down." Hong Kong's district councillors have little political power and mainly deal with local issues such as bus routes and rubbish collection, so the district elections don't normally generate such interest. But these polls were the first time people could express at the ballot box their opinion on embattled Chief Executive Carrie Lam's handling of the crisis, which was sparked by a now withdrawn extradition law. Watch to become bilingual with latest world news. A record 4.1 million people had registered to vote, more than half the population. And more than 2.9 meters people cast votes for the 452 seats available, a turnout of more than 71%, against 47% in 2015. The weekend was the first in months without any clashes or violence between protesters and police. Facing the extremely challenging situation, I'm pleased to say, we have a relatively calm and peaceful environment for the election today, Chief Executive Carrie Lam said after voting. What's the latest? In one of the biggest losses for the pro-Beijing camp, lawmaker Junius Ho, one of Hong Kong's most controversial politicians, suffered a shock defeat. He was stabbed earlier this month by a man pretending to be a supporter. The lawmaker has openly voiced his support for Hong Kong's police force on multiple occasions. He was in July filmed shaking hands with a group of men, suspected of being triad gangsters, who later assaulted pro-democracy protesters. Jimmy Sham, a political activist who has recently risen to prominence as the leader of the Civil Human Rights Front, a campaign group responsible for organizing some of the mass protest marches, won a seat after running for the first time. Mr. Sham has also been attacked twice, once apparently with hammers. Photographs at the time showed him lying on the street covered in blood. Standing on crutches, Mr. Sham told Reuters news agency on Sunday that the election was special because it is a formal confrontation between pro-establishment and pro-democracy parties. Pro-democracy activist Joshua Wong was barred from running in the elections, a move he referred to as political screening, but the pro-democracy candidate who replaced him is said to have won. In a tweet, Mr. Wong said the historic results showed that public opinion had not turned against the pro-democracy movement. Reflecting on her reported defeat, pro-Beijing lawmaker Alice Mak suggested Ms. Lam's administration was partly to blame. In the election campaign, pro-government candidates have been unfairly treated. This is a very important reason, she said. Starry Lee Wai-King, chairwoman of the city's largest pro-Beijing party, was among the few establishment candidates to secure her seat. "I think Lee is the only one who can survive the de facto referendum," said Leung Kwok Hung, her pro-democracy opponent in the poll. More than 1,000 candidates ran for 452 district council seats which, for the first time, were all contested. A further 27 district seats are allocated to representatives of rural districts. Pro-Beijing parties held the majority of these seats ahead of the election. Under Hong Kong's electoral system, 117 of the district councillors will also sit on the 1,200-member committee that votes for the chief executive. So a pro-democracy district win could translate eventually to a bigger share, and say, in who becomes the city's next leader. Please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.